What is up, y'all? Today we'll be talking about the Utah Jazz, and more specifically, why I think they should trade for James Harden. But first, before I get into that, if you like this video, make sure to like the video. Subscribe for daily sports content, NBA, NFL, college football, college basketball. I do all of it. Let's get into the video. So, right now the biggest, NBA news is James Harden. Where will he go? Miami, Philadelphia. Which city strippers will see a massive pay raise this year, basically? Um, And believe it or not, I think it is Utah, Salt Lake City, the city of the Mormons. So, this is, without a doubt, a dark horse team. First off, let's get that out of the way. But, okay. So, first off, before we start this, thing, I'd just like to say it's been a while since I've watched a Utah Jazz game. And I'm relying on my friend who told me that the Utah Jazz, basically everything there is to know about them. And he said that Donovan Mitchell is a playmaker. His channel is linked down in the description below. So, my whole theory for this, thing is that you move Donovan Mitchell to point guard. Okay? This past season, he averaged 4.3 assists per game. And you have to remember that is while, carrying the main scoring burden of this Utah Jazz team. So, what I'm thinking is that the Utah Jazz trade a package something like Rudy Gobert, probably Mike Conley, picks for James Harden. And as crazy as it sounds, it could be the thing that pushes them over the edge, right? So let's break into this trade and why I think, the Utah Jazz should do it and why I think the Houston Rockets should do it. So I think the Houston Rockets should do it because they just might not get a better package flat out. The Miami Heat have been reluctant to approve of Tyler Herro getting traded. The Brooklyn Nets aren't going to give up KD or Kyrie. The Bucks, that's just unrealistic in my opinion. And it doesn't look like the 76ers want to give up Ben Simmons. So, now we get into the, good part for the Utah Jazz, right? So, they came very short. They lost 3-1 to the Denver Nuggets this, offseason. Which is a tough loss for them. Obviously, getting come back on 3-1 is always going to be tough. But the Utah Jazz just kind of lack that extra punch, okay? And typically it's Bogdanovich, right? But I do believe Bogdanovich is often injured. Not entirely sure if he's going to, play this offseason due to the fact of, his son is high risk, and, COVID still exists, unfortunately. Mike Conley is not exactly, an amazing scorer. He's not in his prime Memphis Grizzlies days anymore. I view Joe Ingles as more of a defender than a scorer, quite honestly. Quite honestly, Donovan Mitchell is carrying this team in scoring and playmaking. And I feel like, personally, if they were to trade for James Harden, there would just be a much, improvement for the Utah Jazz. Okay? Because Donovan Mitchell can focus more on, playmaking, and then James Harden can focus more on scoring. Right? I think Donovan Mitchell is a good player. I think he's a good guy. Especially after him and Rudy Gobert were able to make up after the whole, touching the mics, touching the players' stuff. After him and Rudy Gobert were able to make up, I feel like he would have very little issues, at least, adjusting to James Harden and his play style. There is one big issue with this, however, and it would be, does James Harden actually want to live there? I'm going to be quite honest here. Who really wants to live in Salt Lake City? Especially if you're, some hotshot NBA guy. And you could live in Miami. Salt Lake City's not... nothing against Salt Lake City. It's a cool place. But it gets very cold. No strip clubs, as I've mentioned before. It's just not exactly, it's not a prime free agency destination. We'll go with that. So that has been up the question of, would James Harden actually want to play there? And obviously, if he doesn't want to play there, they should, not trade for him, quite obviously. But, I've said this before, but it's statistically proven that he plays worse in cities with, big strip clubs, such as Miami. So that just, brings up the question in the first place. What would he do in Salt Lake City? you know. So that's that. Now, that's the one player that I think the Jazz should trade for. And while I was making this video, actually, I thought of the other guy. So, Rudy Gobert, amazing defensively. But that's about it. He gets boards, and he, protects the paint. Now, what other player sounds like that? But you could get him at a very cheap price. He's a center. He plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Andre Drummond. So, obviously, Andre Drummond is no Rudy Gobert in terms of defense. Rudy Gobert is just the best paint protector in the NBA right now. There's no debating that. But in terms of rebounding, in terms of, just paint defense, Andre Drummond is going to be very close to, what Rudy Gobert was. And you'll be able to get him for a very cheap price. All right. Cap space would obviously be an issue. I'm not entirely sure if that would be able to work. I'm no cap master or anything like that. But if it could work, you'd come extremely close to getting a Rudy Gobert replacement without having to, potentially give up a major asset that you would to get, a player such as Rudy Gobert, if that makes any sense. So, that is my, big trade package for the Utah Jazz. James Harden and Andre Drummond. Do I think they will actually do this? No, I do not. Do I think it would be fun to see them do this? Yes, I do. And, the NBA season is never, the championship is never won without any risk. I mean, the Raptors risked it for Kawhi. The Lakers risked it for AD. You just got to risk it sometimes. And I feel like this could be the move that puts the Jazz, into the top, team contention. Because right now, it's looking like the Nuggets, the Bucks, the Lakers, the Heat, maybe the Clippers. Right? And the Jazz could potentially vault themselves into that with the best guard duo in the West, for sure. Best guard duo in the NBA, honestly. There's no one else that stands out to me. And it would just be interesting to me, quite honestly. So, yeah, that's the main point of the video. I think James Harden to Utah Jazz makes a lot of sense. Don't think it happens at all. There's no way it actually happens. But, hey, it'd be interesting, that is for sure. So, I said this before. If you'd like this video, please like the video. It helps my channel out a lot. If you, enjoy daily sports content, NBA, NFL, college football, college basketball, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Y'all would help me out a lot. What are your thoughts and opinions? I want to hear from y'all. I want to have a conversation with y'all, I love my fans, and I love talking with them. So, just let me know down in the comments below, what you think the Jazz should do, what you think about James Harden, what your favorite food is. I really don't care. Let's talk. Yeah, that's about it. So, thanks so much for watching, y'all, and y'all have an amazing day.